Hello, my name is Merete, and on social media and Ravelry, I go under the name MereteKdesign. Today, I'm gonna talk about my flower leaves vest design, which I'm wearing and I have in the back. I am hosting a birthday call because I have a birthday coming up in September on the 21st. And I have decided to invite you to join me for a knit along where we knit my flower leaves vest. The pattern is on Ravelry, and you can get it for free, or you can pay me what you would like to pay. So let's just get into it, and I hope you will join the knit along. So this video is about I want to tell how to pick size and yarn and all that goody stuff. So yes, so follow along. The sizing in my pattern is there's only one size, but actually there's two sizes. There is the same amount of stitches you work with all the time, but the gauge is different. I have a bigger size behind me and a smaller size that I'm wearing. I'm just gonna stand up so you can see it. So these two sizes are the only change in those is the gauge. So for the smaller size, the gauge is 12 stitches, and on the larger size it's 11 stitches in a seed stitch. I use a 7mm needles for the smaller size and an 8mm needle for the larger size. But as I'm a tight knitter, then you might be able to get the same gauge going on a needle 6mm or 7mm. So it's a design where you need to swatch before you cast on. You want the material to be quite thick, and that's because of these flower leaves on the sleeves. You want them to be able to stand on their own. So as you can see here, the material is quite thick and it doesn't collapse when I do this. So you can maybe also just tell here how thick it is. So what I do is I knit more strands of yarns together to get a different fun expression or mild effect. But you can do whatever you want. So I have brought some yarns with me today so you can also see what you can choose from. But back to the sizing. The first and most important thing before choosing the yarns and going forward with knitting this is to pick out what kind of fit you want, because the larger size that I have behind me would probably fit a bigger person, but would also fit if you want it to be a layering piece. I designed it to begin with to be a layering piece, but I found that the smaller version can also be a layering piece. So I would recommend to go in and look up the finished measurements for both the pale rose version and for this scrappy version. Both of those are in the pattern, and you can see the exact measurements for both of those vests. So the color is quite big on both of them, and you would probably, that's my experience, is that when you look at people, the way that the grading should be is not to make the neckline be a lot bigger just because you have a small chest, because your neckline is not usually that much bigger than the chest circumference. And as you can see, this neckline is already quite big and would probably fit most sizes. So if you want this smaller top part, you should look at this top part before designing. Then you could go for a smaller size, because later on in the pattern there is a lot of tips and instructions on how to make it bigger. So for any size, this should be able actually to fit. And also, some people have asked me, can you go on a smaller needle and just have fun with that? That's kind of up to you if you want to do so. What you should think of is that the smaller gauge you go on, the smaller the sleeves will become. As if I stand next to the larger size, you will probably see that this sleeve is a lot bigger than this one. And so if you go smaller, the sleeve will also become smaller. So if you really like these flower leaves, then I wouldn't recommend going smaller. It is possible to get them larger, but I have made directions on, you can see here below the arm, how you increase the seed stitches under the arm. And if you go larger on the leaves here, you have to consider how this will affect this part. So if you don't want to have many worries about your knitting project, then just go with the recommended gauge and then modify further down. So everything is the same instructions for both these versions. When you think of the amount of stitches that you're working on and rows and so forth. But during the knitting, I write in the pattern when to adjust to your size, and then I tell you exactly what, or instruct you, like here you can put more increases, and then it's up to you to kind of work them in. For example, I don't want anybody to change anything before they have finished row or round 10, because there's short rows for the neckline. So if you start modifying here, you will kind of get in trouble. I want this part to be perfect on everyone. So don't modify anything before after row 10. And after that row, there is different options if you want to both get it smaller or get it larger. So I say to you in the pattern that you could either put more increases here or drop some increases depending on how big you want your body to become. And also the sleeves, I tell the same. And just notice the sleeve ones. You can see it's quite big already for the smaller size. And underneath the arm there is knitted a panel here. And this panel can you can make that wider or you can drop it. So that's an option that comes in the pattern when you get to this panel. Also, there is instructions in the pattern where you can put increases into this two-colored brioche section, which will make this brioche part wider. So when you have your yoke finished, the sleeve is not going to be connected like this. So the measurements in the pattern for this vest is measured from this point to this point. And then it also says, bear in mind there is going to be more fabric because of this part. So when you make increases here, or you decide to drop some or make extra, then bear in mind that there are going to become extra fabric under the arm that you can add or drop later in your knitting. The next step in the pattern is that when you get to the lower part here, this brioche, 2 colors brioche, is knitted flat back and forth. That means that you're working on the front part, and after that you're going to work on the back part. And with brioche fabric, it becomes wider than when you knit in a seed stitch or stockinette stitch, which means that when you transform your seed stitch to brioche, the fabric will automatically become wider than the seed stitch part. So already here you will get extra fabric around your body, and that's why that I only instruct to make a few increases here. It's an option, it's not in this one, but it's I can see if I put it in this one here. I did, so I can bring this one forward. So you can see I made an increase here to make the brioche section wider. So it depends on how much this become. There's also measurements for how wide your gauge should be in brioche. So you can check your gauge before knitting it, and then when you get to this part, then you will find out if you need more fabric or less fabric. You can also see here how much extra it becomes wider after the seed stitch section. But let's say that you made like one increase and you find out after you finish this brioche section that you should have made more increases. Then you don't have to unravel everything, because when you do this side panel, this is the last step. You join the front piece and the back piece together and knitting a seed stitch side panel from the bottom and up. And this seed stitch panel, if you have tried it on and you have found that you need more fabric around your body, then you can make this panel wider. You may also find that you have too much fabric, you don't want to have the panel at all, then you can just sew the sides together and drop the side panel. But if you knit the side panel, then we come to the arm circumference as the last thing, because depending on how far up you knit this side panel, it will close the armhole more and more. So if you want a smaller armhole, then you just continue. So when you are working the side panel, you can just try it on and see when do you want to stop. In this version I'm showing you here, I decided that I wanted the back panel or the back side with the brioche just a bit longer than the front. So when you attach the side panel, if you decide to do the same, just make sure that you have counted down the selvage stitches on each side, so you begin the side panel at the same spot on each side. If you're wondering why this kind of is cinched together, it's because this seed stitch panel kind of squishes down the brioche front here, and that's quite alright. That's how I designed it. I wanted it to be that way. It doesn't look odd, but just brings down together the waist, as you can see here. I think I'm just gonna make a big change so you can see me wearing the large size. One moment. So I'm wearing the large size now, and as you can see, it's much longer and it's much wider. I designed this to be worn on top of a sweater, but if you don't wear it on top of anything, it would fit at least a size large to an extra large. And if you are a larger size and you would like to knit this, I would recommend doing this size, but don't make the gauge smaller. Don't go to, like, let's say 10 stitches. Stay on the 11 stitches, because the less stitches you have on 10 centimeters or 4 inches, the more thick you need the yarn to be to hold up the leaves, and it's just gonna be way too warm and thick, and I don't think you would find that comfortable. But if you need more size around your body or more fabric, then you could do more increases. There's just one here. But let's say you did as recommended in pattern to make 2 more and no more, then that would give that much fabric. Like 1 increase gives 2 stitches in 2 colored brioche, so 2 increases more would give 4 stitches, which is this much. And you have to think about that this is done 4 places, like 2 places on the front and 2 places on the back, which would give you at least 10 to 20 more centimeters around your body. And also you also have the option, if you need even more, to do the side panel wider. And at the same time you do all these extra stitches, bear in mind that the armhole will become bigger. So that's why I don't think you will need to make any more increases here on the sleeve, next to the sleeve. I don't think you will be able, or you will need that extra fabric, because it's already quite big, as you can see here on me. So if you decide just to make more increases in the brioche, you already have a much larger armhole than I do here. So I hope you will find that this explains some of the size adjustment in the pattern. I try to help as much as I can, and you're always welcome to contact me for more help if something is unclear in the pattern regarding the sizes, and also regarding the yarn choice. So next up, I'm gonna talk a bit about the yarn you can choose from. And let's start with this one. This one is knitted in a yarn that I found here. Its name is Puno Gepard, and it's quite thick already, as you can see here. This one, let's see if I can see what it says. Sorry about this. It doesn't say the recommended gauge with this one, but I held this yarn double for this one, and on top of that I added 2 strands of mohair and 1 strand of some glitter yarn I had in my stash. It's just some really thin yarn. And if I bring it up close, maybe you can see some of the marling that happens when you add more color to it. So for the larger size you could do this. You could also use it for the smaller size and just not add the mohair. I have another brand here that gives you the same Camarose Sniff Nook. that would give the same kind of fabric as this one, and it's super soft and really warm. So it also depends on how warm you want it. Another option is the one I used for this one, and it's a yarn that I tried out to make it ultra easy, like super easy to choose your yarn if you're not into marling and you just want to have something easy to go to. This one is the smaller size as well, but if you add like a mohair, then you could go to the larger size with this yarn. And the yarn is Molly from Mayflower. So that's an option also. And you just hold one strand. And that will give you the gauge. Alternatively, many are falling for this one when they see the design the first time. And the technique here is takes more time to work with. I'm using magic balls. I'm knitting 3 strands together in this design, 2 DK strands and 1 fingering weight strand. And what I do is that I saw a Crystal Seifert video once where she explained how to make these magic balls, that you just have like a random set of colors, and in this case I may have had 10 different colors, maybe more, maybe less, something like that. And I just organized them so I had all the DK weight in one pile and all fingering weight in another pile. And then I just randomly took one from the DK. When I made the DK weight magic ball, I just took like randomly from one of each of the colors and just took like maybe 1 meter or 2 meters and just wound it up, made a magic knot. You can find YouTube video on making magic knots, and then you just take the next color and wind it up, and you just keep on doing that until you have a ball of yarn basically. And so I did that. So I had 2 balls that were DK weight and 1 ball that were fingering weight. And when I knitted those 3 strands of yarns from the 3 balls together, I got this super highly mild fabric. There's some glitter yarns in there, there's some really fluffy yarns and all kind of stuff that kind of makes it interesting to look at. For the ribbing and for the front of the briers, I had also 2 yarns that were DK weight in an orange color, and 1 yarn that was a lighter orange that was a fingering weight, just to give it a bit of a mild effect but not a high one, because I still wanted it to be something that kind of brought it together and made one color basically but still had a bit of something that happened in it. Maybe I can just take it down so you can see what I mean. So I might even have had 3 different oranges now that I look at it, that I put together. And also you can see the mold here. Yes. So for doing this highly marled fabric, for the smaller size you will need 2 magic balls that are DK weight and 1 magic ball that is fingering weight. And if you're doing the larger size, then I would do 3 balls of DK weight magic balls, put them together. And if you want to check out the gauge and how it should look, you could, if you have like some waste yarn, that are worsted weight, you could try and pull them out and knit those two together. I have here some different worsted weight yarns that I can show you. There is Sandnes garn, Per Gynt, and there is Peruvian, Filcolanas Peruvian Highland wool, and then in Denmark I think mostly it's Grønhøj, also Peruvian, and then there could also be Istex Letlobi. I have 2 yarns here. So that is also an option, just to try and knit 2 strands together and see what fabric it will give you. You could also do a mild vest, just knitting 2 worsted weight yarns together. That would also make it easier. So for this knit along, I have decided to make 2 vests. And I'm just gonna show you the yarns that I've chosen. So one moment, I will find those. Yes. So I decided to make a scrappy version like the one on my mannequin. But this time in some blues and white colors. So I gathered a bunch of yarns in the blue color that I had in my stash. I'm just gonna bring it forward, and I want the contrast color of the ribbing to be kind of icy blue white. So all kind of different yarns. I'm gonna pull them out in a moment, just to show you the bunch. There's all kind of weights here. There is some fingering, hand dyed. So I'm thinking of making magic balls with the fingering weight yarns. So I can pull those out first. This is light blue. And also this one could also be a fingering. This is a brushed alpaca from Drops. What else do we have? Also have another hand-dyed one. And some mohair from Drops. No, sorry, Mayflower's Super Kid Silk. And I have like little leftovers of something that I can get used in those magic balls. Also have some glitter. And yes, that's almost all the fingering weights. So it's kind of hard to show you all. And then for the more DK weight, I have a combination of some worsted weight and DK weight yarns. That's okay, you can do that as well, that's no problem. So I have something Mayflower Sweet. I have BC Garn Simile Melange. I have Lido. I think this one is a West wool from Stephen West and Stephen and Penelope. I also have a little something left over. It's some Highland wool. Another little DK weight yarn. I have some Filcolana Panilla, a little leftover. I also think I'm gonna bring a little bit of something contrasting into it, and maybe some white. This is just some fluff, different kinds that I can tell on the strain how large it's gonna be. So yes, also have this kind of fun one, but I'm gonna take out all these green and orange ones, so I only have see here, the strand like this with the blues and the black. So that's the DK weight, and I have enough so I can make like 2 DK weight magic balls with this. So they kind of, then it will, sometimes it will be these two colors that come and are going to be knit together at the same time, but that's okay. That's the fun of it. You don't know what's gonna happen when you knit with magic balls. And for the color, it's kind of a yarn mess because I was trying to twist the yarns around. But let's see, I have something from Isaiah. I think it's a Highland wool, a fingering weight. Oh, I have it right here. This one. And then this one is a Drops Melody, a quite thick brushed alpaca. And then I have something else that is a fingering weight wool. I have some mohair that I'm holding double, and I think I might try to add this one, this sky blue color, to it. And then I have this glitter yarn from Kremke. And then what I do is that, I'm just gonna see if I can hold up this. I lay all the strands together because I want to see how it almost looked like before knitting the swatch. And then I just twist them around and see how, if I like the look of it. So that's what I'm going to do for my scrappy version. And for the other version, I'm just gonna leave the screen for a second. I'm going a total different direction. I have this yarn from Nora. It's called Malvinas. And the other yarn I have from Nora is Silk Garden sock yarn. And because I recently started spinning, I'm going to try and spin these two yarns together to get a, they're both single strands, so I'm gonna like spin them together and get a 2-strand yarn, or 2-plied yarn, I think it's called, and see to get kind of a mild effect as the one I have in the back, but just using 2 yarns that you can buy. You could also just knit them together. You don't have to spin them together first, but as I recently become a spinner, then I'm going to try this. I have again 2 colors, so I get a different color than the body. So I have this greener one, and it's much more blue on the screen. It's more in real life it's more green. So I'm sorry for the color confusion. And then the other 2 that is going to be spun together are these 2. They are more accurate. And what I'm going to do is spin each of those 2 together, and then the ones that are less mild, if you can say so, is the one I'm going to use for the rib color and for the front of the 2-colored brioche. Yes. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to choose for your colors. And again, I'm always happy to help, so you're welcome to contact me and ask questions. And if you don't want to have more colors, you can also just knit a 1-color version. So I'm just wearing this one to show how a 1-colored version looks like. This one I really like too. I wear it a lot, so it's, yeah. So it doesn't have to be many colors. Yes. So I hope you like it. It's a vest that is very wearable. I use mine a lot in the fall and in the spring when it's too warm to have something long sleeved on, or I use it kind of like a layered over piece also. So there's a lots of option, and it's also really nice on top of dresses and shirts and whatever. So a really wearable piece that I just need a lot more of. So the two I plan to knit now is not going to be the last ones. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was really helpful and inspiring. And please reach out if you need any help. So thank you and have a lovely day. Bye bye.